First things first, thermal imaging. What does it do? Does anybody know? Anybody know anything about thermal imaging? It's interactive, I promise.
Looks for heat signatures?
Or, not heat, but cold. Right. We're looking for we're looking for cold spots.
Okay.
It's the old adage.
Yeah.
So we're literally looking for cold spots in this guy. So the way I have this guy set up is going to give us an array of color, as you guys can already see. I should be orange, red, and yellow. So with that said, the yellow and white are the hottest things inside the camera. So with that, there's also a blue dot that bounces around. That blue dot is going to show you the coldest point in the camera from time to time with whatever's in the frame. So I set it up that way on purpose, so that way we know exactly where the very coldest spot is in the camera at any given time. I also left the center crosshairs on there on purpose. So in the event we need to measure something by itself, we just simply move the camera to get the crosshairs over that specific area. So do I have the heat dot on there? No, we don't need heat in ghost hunting. If I was studying thermodynamics, yes, I would study both, but we're looking for cold spots literally. I'm looking for the blue and black spots to start moving on their own. We're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times, because what happens once somebody leaves the video, that orange, red, and yellow goes somewhere else. So again, our skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing out here, especially in the fall. So it's not going to be somebody in our face all the time, but even off in a distance, we want to try to keep somebody's skin in view at all times. So with that said, I think this one's going to go to you, because you're going to have a lot of questions, I'm sure.
Got it.
So the camera is on the left-hand side. You can see the wire. So you want to, even when I tell you to stop the video so we can restart it again, because there's going to be certain instances that we're going to stop it just because the software for this stuff sucks. The hardware is great, software is horrible. So even when you restart it, make sure it's on the left. And that's the red square that's in the middle of, or the left-hand side of your screen. So it's already recording. We do want to record like the first 30 to 45 minutes.
Is it working?
I'm sure it is.
Good. Recording you.
So,
Just got to make sure for him.
don't pay any attention to the timer. Some people get freaked out that the timer stops. Don't worry about it. What do we got going on here? Oh boy. This could be a very interesting night. Some characters
I'm down
on my
for
way
it.
Down here.
Did it change colors?
What? Can't really see that. No. Doesn't really do anything.
Courtney, this crazy thing's gonna go to you.
Okay.
So what does this guy do? Gotta do a demo first. Don't get all over the jealous.
Keep it. I'll figure it out. What's the worst that can
Right,
happen?
we're here for it, all of us.
So you should not be able to see me and the camera. Like, it should be pretty dark on that screen. So we're gonna turn on some lights. We're working with full spectrum lighting. That's light you can't see with your own eyes. You can't see the light that's being emitted from this guy and or this guy. So the hope is that we're going to be able to find things that we can't see with our own eyes through the camera. So this is relatively new, so we don't have a whole lot of evidence from like, oh my god, look at this evidence. So hopefully tonight is that night. I really wanted to I normally don't break this out until like the very last piece, and with a group of 10, but with a smaller group of 4, fuller moon tonight, I'm like, what the hell, let's give it a whirl, see what happens. Same thing with yours, we only have so much video on there, so we're gonna do some starts and stops. That's the flashing button at the top. It is set to record right now.
Okay.
So again, this is your handle. By all means, move the camera however makes you feel comfortable.
So I just actually physically move the camera, or do I just do it like this?
Well, are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, then it's already set up for you.
Okay.
So then you're literally just gonna
just do it then.
You got it.
Got it.
I was gonna say if you're left-handed, turn it so you can use your left hand.
Okay.
But you're all good.
It makes people look creepy.
That's why we have it. All right, so spirit boxes. We're going to be using 2 different types of spirit boxes tonight. You sound like you're already familiar with this type of technology.
I have heard of them. I'm not super familiar.
Well, this one's going to go to you because you're my chatterbox.
Okay.
So this is going to sweep through your FM radio stations at a quick rate. On your TV shows, it's the white noise, and then Zach Bagans tells you the bullshitty things he heard. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time. Only mine are set up a little bit different. It's not just white noise. With the radio, I slowed it down so we actually get radio chatter. I want the song lyrics, DJs, and commercials to come through, because at that point, if she can make anything out, it's a 50-50 shot that it can tie it to the location of where we are, person in history, or something with one of us. Yeah, so again, the cool thing about this one is it's going to record the entire session for us. She's going to have an earbud in, and I do not want them back. Earwax is gross. I'm just
Yes.
putting it out
No, I agree.
there. So, I buy them in bulk. It's not a big deal.
I do have AirPods. I don't know if that.
It won't connect.
Okay.
It won't connect. Again, this is all annual, analog kind of stuff. But it's going to record the entire session for us without any outside noise in real time. Sarah?
Yes.
I'm getting confused on who's Sarah and Jess. So I'll get
So
it
my
right.
last name is Money. If you want to just call me that,
Well,
if that helps.
Texas and North Carolina?
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay. So I got the
South
damn
Carolina.
states down.
I mean, my area code is weird. It's a whole story.
I'm sure it is. So, which she's going to be listening to, just so you guys get the gist of it. And it's at the slowest rate that I can actually make it go. So the volume for this guy is right here.
Okay.
I am going to pull out a set of earbuds for you so
Okay.
that you can have those. Well, I'm not going to pull them out. You're going to pull them out because I've never touched them.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, you get to carry the bag.
Yay! I'm the work mule.
Very important job, though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to have a different type of spirit box. So your spirit box is going to give us a word in the center of the screen from time to time, kind of like the Ovilus that you guys see on television. The Ovilus actually only has like 2,000 words in it. Mine has 9,000 words in it. The thing about this is it is an actual phone app. 80% of what comes out of this is going to be bullshit. And a lot of times I'm going to call bullshit. So if you don't have to show me every single word. The cool thing is it's going to save all those words to a list and have a timestamp on it of when it occurred. So that way when I give you your data back, I know exactly when that term came up and I can check the video, the audio, and everything else that we have going on to see if something else lines up. So I'm going to clear out last night's list. They actually had quite a bit. They had 89 terms come through. And I would say probably a good 15 to 17% of that was legit. So they actually had a pretty decent list. So
Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Bridge will not be on your list, just so you know. When I want to see the list, I'll say, hey Jess, where are we at with the list? You're going to hit the little white button next to the word. You'll be able to scroll through the list. The only thing you want to hit is the circle back in the top right-hand corner.
Got it.
Last but not least, I'm going to be carrying a millimeter on me. I may even hand it off to one of you, probably you, because yours is so easy. So once you get the gist of that, I may even hand you this guy to kind of go double-fisted. So this is actually a multifunctional device. So what this actually does is it's kind of like the blinky light ones you guys see on TV, right? So you guys have all seen these before. It's called a K2 meter.
Yep.
So child's play. This guy is actually way more accurate. So anything above 2.5, I'm going to be excited about. So the bottom measures ambient temperature. So Jeff finds anything on his video, I'll be able to debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the ambient probe that's sitting here. The last thing that it has is it has a REM pod built into it. What the hell's a REM pod? So it's a motion sensor. Anything gets close to that antenna, it will go off. I have it set pretty close so that way bugs don't give us false positives. So again, I don't always use that because it can be very annoying on the audio. That's why I like to pass it off when somebody gets used to their device, and that way it's a little bit more accurate instead of, and guys, we normally jostle this thing, so it'll make it go off even worse. So again, once you get used to that, if I feel like you're comfortable, I'll toss you the secondary device. That way you guys have something else to go on. But with yours, like, you're probably going to be laser focused on what you're listening to. When I only have groups of two, which was the other night, I actually give both of those spirit boxes to one person. What I found is that they don't listen and they only watch. So again, I like separating it. We get a much more accurate reading that way. So I'm going to hang on to this in my side pocket until we're kind of ready to pass it off. Not to say that you can't handle 4 devices at once, because this is 3 in 1. But again, get used to your first one before I throw something else at you.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys, go have fun. Let me know what you find.
Walking out walls hard enough sometimes.
Courtney, just so you know, your battery will die towards the end of our time together. Okay. I carry 5 extras. Okay. It's nothing paranormal where it's going to drain battery kind of mentality. Okay. Unless, of course, it's about halfway through. Then I'll be like, holy shit, our batteries are drained. Okay. Sorry about my horrible French, by the way. I hope it's not bothering you.
Oh, it makes me feel more
Right?
And I seen you were vaping already.
Yes.
I'm totally fine with smoking and vaping. I'm a heavy vapor myself.
Okay.
I try not to vape on the tours unless, of course, my whole team is smoking. So again, anybody else is a smoker, feel free. It's not going to bother me. Of course, it's not going to bother Sarah. So, but anyway.
And I'll hang back.
Oh yeah, no, I don't care.
Okay.
You guys vape away.
So,
I have mine, but back at the
blinding
hotel.
myself. Why didn't anybody tell me I got laser beams on my face? There we go.
I just thought it was like a cool. I thought you were gonna turn on music.
It's
and, like,
technically
walk with it.
no, it's technically a flashlight for those darker areas, but
We brought a flashlight too, in case
I always have
you need.
flashlights.
Okay.
Who are you talking to?
I'm just, he convinced me we needed it.
Flashlights come in handy. Especially when your phone battery's about dead.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You can't use
Yeah.
the little flash battery,
Right.
like flashlight on your phone.
So I did an investigation down in St. Augustine, and I handed out, like, I was doing the lighthouse down there, and I had a team of, I think it was 26 people there. So, like, all of my equipment's out. Like, I'm trying to hand off stuff and teach people how to use it really quick, because I was there with another podcast. And I handed out a bunch of flashlights to just some people that were uncomfortable, especially being in the lighthouse. I did not get one single flashlight back. I was pissed.
Oh man.
So
Wow.
Thieves.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Luckily, I buy those in bulk too. So, wife works for Best Buy, so batteries and all of that stuff, like, it all comes at cost. It's not a big deal. Not to mention, if somebody's batteries, I'm trying to think who has. The only thing that actually runs on physical batteries is your devices. If your guys' devices actually die, those are charged items, which we're already having an issue. I could see it.
Is your wife's name Zoe?
No.
Okay.
Is
I
it
was just
ZOE
curious.
on there?
Yeah. I just popped. That's why I was asking. That's interesting.
So you have a battery pack on the back of this phone that I glued on there, and I found the other night. I'm going to unplug this camera. It's going to go blank. Back again? Cool.
Yep, we're back again. Okay.
All right. So I guess we talk about why we started here. We started at Big John's for a reason. So I don't just take you to some random dark street corner and be the creepy guy in the corner. Big John's was established 1955 on the building, but it just reopened a few months ago. Reopened as Big John's again. It's been a few things in between, but it was Big John's back in the late 40s and the 50s. Mainly the 60s and 70s. This was a really big watering hole for a lot of the tour guides and the cadets. So it was named after a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. So that's why it's called Big John's. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. I will always slow down with keywords and terms. We have 2 spirit boxes in play. Again, we're not doing yes or no questions here. I'll explain more at the next stop. Big John, he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets up pretty mad, starts pounding these guys into the floor, just beating the hell out of them. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up after being shot, goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, an ambulance. So, nobody dies in that story. So what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if the hole was filled in with this new renovation, his blood is still in the building. So, people that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. It's from the paranormal activity that actually occurs. That's where the bullet hole was. So, it is a heated warning, which is why we start here. Anybody starts to feel those symptoms, I need to know immediately. It is a very, very big deal. I don't get many people that pass out on this tour or get those kind of symptoms, but it does happen. At our last stop, I'm going to leave it to you, because you're the person I'm looking at, to remind me to tell you about something that happened just a few weeks ago. It is relative to that specific story, and it's creepy all on its own besides the story itself. So, it was on the tour. He's like, oh shit, what the hell did I just sign up for? And now his phone is screaming, like, what? Who is this guy?
What was that? Whose meter was that?
My wife. Her ringtone.
It's not Zoe.
It's not Zoe. Her name is April. We still have that battery problem. When she texts me or calls me, if you're familiar with The Princess Bride, when Billy Crystal's wife comes out of the back room, she comes screaming out, I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. That's the ringtone for my wife.
That's awesome.
I'm still going to keep an eye on, make sure those blue dots are running, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. It's only charging the camera, but the camera's only designed to last an hour, which is why there's a battery pack on it.
Got it.
So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Let's get our mind off our own health, right? Oh, to one up one on my wife, she actually got me back, and she renamed our Wi-Fi to I'm not a witch, I'm your Wi-Fi.
Oh,
cute.
that's awesome.
Clever.
Again, she works for Best Buy. Very clever
Yeah,
lady.
yeah.
Have you guys taken any Charleston tours at all?
Oh yeah.
I think we've taken all of them except for the carriage.
The carriage ones.
Yeah.
Well, the carriage one is the one that talks about the earthquakes a lot. So we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that, now you do. Every tour normally talks about it, but especially the carriage rides. This is allegedly where the first earthquake occurred at Big John's. A piece of the mantling you see in the middle of the building, that white bar, also goes around to the front of the building. A piece of it broke off apparently struck somebody in the back of the head and killed them. They say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. Again, I said apparently and allegedly with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour, especially when I have moms on the tour and they got their kids with them. So Sarah laughed. She's like, oh, I totally get that one. So you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Courtney's like, I don't know, I'm going to stay behind.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm an observer. Very much.
Right, should I be hearing things through the headset? Okay, I'm not.
Turn your volume, it's at the very top. It's not the button.
Did you get it fixed, Sarah?
Wait, oh my gosh, look, we were literally right there. We walked around the whole. We were literally here at. We didn't know where we were going, and we walked like way over there. And then
Minutes early. We're going to stop up here at this corner. Because I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of practice time here. This is normally what I use as a practice lot when I have my full groups of 10, but I still like to give you guys the gist of what's going on here and still explain more about your devices. So this is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides, the big red barn lot behind you. So the horses are still inside. It's part of the reason why I use earbuds with the spirit boxes now, because I don't like the white noise. So the only history here is really simple. So imagine I have 10 people with 10 different devices that I have to go through over again. So that's why we stop here. And we usually only spend about 10 minutes here, but we're not going to spend much. The blue light went out again. Damn it. I'm going to have to fix that at our next stop.
Okay.
So the history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Talking 1860s to 1920s, approximate. Again, not a whole lot of history here. Spirit boxes, there's 2 of them working tonight. So this is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because that's what everybody wants to ask. That's a yes or no question. And if somebody answers no, that means somebody's here. So again, we do not ask yes or no questions. You guys are all here for some kind of paranormal proof, whether you thought you were or not. So we're not going to get that proof out of yes or no questions. You're going to ask simple questions. Normally when I have everybody spread out, I say ask questions like, what color is the big red barn? You know what the answer is to that. This is an easy level. So again, you're going to be looking and listening for the color red. But Sarah's listening for DJs and song lyrics to give her messages. So the word red might not be there, but fire truck, blood, heart, all 3 of those things are specifically red. And I only give you those 3 examples because I've gotten it in the past. What color is the big red barn? Fire truck. That makes sense to me. However, most of the night I'm going to probably require at least 2 pieces to verify each other. For example, you might have the word art on your word list. Sarah here is the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You kind of see where those 2 things go together? A lot of the stories tonight are going to have multiple people with the same names. Lots of Charles, lots of George, lots of Eliza, those kind of mentalities. So we need to know who the heck we're talking to. So we always need that secondary clue. You'll hear me say that term a lot tonight. You might actually have something. I'm like, I'm going to wait for that secondary clue. Same thing with yours. So again, it's just going to be a matter of like, what do we have working, and are they working in tandem, and are they working together? Sometimes we might have a full sentence that is coming between 2 boxes. It happens all the time. Most of the time I actually go through and, I have 4 spirit boxes running. And sometimes they all work in tandem. You never know. As far as the cameras go, I think you got the gist of why we want somebody's skin temperature in there, so I don't think I have to go through that. With your particular camera, if you notice when it's pointed at me, I should be in like a pinkish or purple circle.
So right now it's on a screen that is stopped.
You broke it.
I didn't touch it. All I did was this.
So, let's reset yours. Man, all kinds of technical difficulties tonight, huh?
The word
When it does this,
Location.
the only way to fix it is to do a battery pop.
Okay.
Like, take it out.
Philosophy.
Give it back.
I'm hearing so much. I don't know if I'm. Yeah.
I also tend to break things with my energy, like no joke. It's totally a thing. I go through cell phones like
This isn't the first time. This
crazy. Okay, just to, yeah, it's a thing. My husband's like, again, another
Again?
cell phone. It'll just stop working.
Just stop again.
Yeah,
Those are $1,000 a piece. What are you doing?
yeah. Seriously, it's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
I used to be able to walk in when we lived in that creepy house, and I was going through all that crap. I would walk in, and if I would get upset, and I would raise my level, the lights would raise. They would go brighter, and then they and like go back down. And Dan's like, I am married to like something creepy. Like, it's,
But little do we know, it was that house.
yeah, it was the house. The house was definitely very creepy.
Kids. Oh, I-26. That's not.
That's one of our freeways.
Yeah.
But you heard the number 26. So, hopefully you're up and running now. So back to your camera. I should be in a pinkish purplish hue, right? So I'm not looking for things inside the purple hue that you can see. You have a short range, this guy right here, and a long range. So in the event we're in a huddled circle and somebody pinches it out, kind of like that, you can turn off the short range. It's perfectly fine.
And where is the short range again?
That
Just
red
that
button.
red button.
Yep. So what's working right now is the long range, which you're going to keep on all night long.
Okay.
So with the short range, obviously what I'm looking for in this guy is I'm looking for things in the darkness. So I'm looking for things outside that circle with the long range, but something could come across and kind of illuminate something in short range, which is when I'm watching the video going, okay, what the hell was that just passed by that we normally wouldn't have seen?
Okay.
So, but I'm really looking for things in the darker corners of the video when I'm watching it. The 1.5-inch screen that you're looking at right now looks way cooler when you have it up on a computer and TV monitor.
Sure.
So again, even if you two just want to be camera people for the rest of the night, that's perfectly fine. It's probably a good 80 to 90% chance you will not see something in real time with these kind of videos. So again, that's not how this normally works. So again, yours is at an 80-20 as far as the probability of something actually coming through, and you're at a 50-50. So she's like, I got the best odds. But again, that's kind of like the gist of like with the devices that we're using tonight, how this is going to roll out. As I'm going through this story at the next stop, I am going to work on your video camera and hopefully get it up and running before we start the investigation. Any other questions? What words do you have going on with your list?
Receiver. This is the from newest to oldest. Receiver, bride, members, accept, intensity, rice, swell, can, Zoe, Mark.
So I like receiver.
Recent, shape, level, tide.
I like the word rice. And the only reason I like that one specifically is because we're still pretty close to the next location, which is literally right across the street, and I don't see that word often. I don't think I've seen that in probably a few years, to be quite honest. And I've been using that app for years. So if that tells you anything, again, I'm not here to make shit up. But I do like receiver because I'm sure that that's, you had the number 26, and we have receiver. So I'm going to have to go through the damn roster of a football team that I don't like football and see if that there was an actual, that's where I kind of put this together. Do you see the clues that I'm getting?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm piecing it all up.
Yeah.
So I say we dive into much deeper history than football players and ponies. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right,
Go.
we're going to go across the street. Don't be on the ground.
Glad we didn't have like 5 drinks each before we came into this. Glad we didn't have like 5 drinks each before we did this because we're carrying all this technology. Fall down and break it. Screw it up.
Oh, I just heard the free falling.
What?
Free falling.
Oh, like Tom Petty?
Yeah, Tom Petty.
Yeah.
At times you guys will see me write things down only because with things that you hear in real time, I may not catch it in my spot check in the morning. So with 26 and receiver, I just kind of wrote a note to myself to double verify that.
A couple other words I heard.
What else do you have?
Philosophy, kids, and location.
All pretty vague.
Okay.
Dirty. That's why. Dirty rice.
Dirty rice. I got a lot of stuff in that bucket. We're going to go in a minute. All right. So, Jeff, I am going to take your camera as I kind of tell us where we are.
Fix it up?
Yep.
Okay.
Make sure that our camera's not going to die.
Absolutely.
So, the way we turn this guy on is we pull the antenna, and then there's two little white buttons in the back. The one closer to the edge is the one you want to turn it on. You push it in flush to get it going. Again, your movements are going to make it go off. On the right-hand side, there are 4 buttons. You can reset the antenna. So you just want to basically have your thumb on it at all times. So if your movements make it go off, you want to keep clicking it until it resets itself.
The lower one?
Right, the lowest one. So there's, very top, and then down here, there's another one.
You said anything above 2.5?
And I've already seen 4.2. Now, in here, the Child's Play one I showed you guys in my bag, that one goes to 25 milligauss. I've seen this one, not here, but error out at 198. That's more than what your microwave will give off. That was at the St. Augustine Lighthouse.
Okay.
And here, I've seen it go all the way up to 149. That's about average of what your microwave will give off on high power. So, again,
Wow.
just depending on the wattage of it. Again, this is a place where we have to be careful, just because if the EMF gets too high, somebody is susceptible to getting a headache or something feel nauseous of some sort. This is a place where psychics usually don't make it past. They get to here and they're dropping like a wet noodle. There you go. That's all you. Thumb on the side so you can keep resetting it, and that way you can keep an eye on both.
So I just want to reset it when it starts like beeping at me.
Yep. But then you want to be still at the same time. So if the same action keeps repeating it, like if it was still going off right now, even though you clicked it, we would probably, you would have something. But the fact that it's not doing anything right now, and you can also use this as kind of a call and answer. Notice, go ahead and look at not directly at the lights, but they're going to change colors. You see all those colors in there? I normally go to blue and purple because they're in the middle. I don't want, hey, come touch the metal stick. I want them to get just so close to prove to me that they're actually here. Hold it at blue. I'll use blue and purple a lot just because it's in the middle. So if they can make it go to blue, awesome. If they're touching it, it's kind of like, all right, what the hell is really going on here? Are they just not following direction? Are they pissed off ghost? That kind of thing. But that's how I use those. So I'm going to check you guys in, start filming. Go ahead and click your red button on the top there.
Do I have to hold it down or just click it this time?
You should be able to just click it once and give it a second and it'll start flashing. Perfect. Let me know if it locks up again. Again, I'm going to check you guys in on the website you guys bought your tickets from, and I'm going to start bouncing around, kind of seeing what you guys got going on. So spread out, ask questions out loud. I'm sure Sarah's like, I'm all in. Oh,
Ready to go.
Don't ask the wrong things.
I must have hit that top one by accident. But it was set up to where
What is the most productive crop that you grew in the garden?
What happened to those?
What was your favorite crop in the garden? What was one thing you wished you had had in the garden? What happened to the house?
here, I think it's from your movements. Also keep in mind the antenna and the numbers can depend on
What was your favorite room in the house?
So, did you have a reading going on while it was on?
What was your favorite plant in the garden? Which plant grew best in the garden? Which plant grew worst in the garden? Which plant grew best in the garden? What was your favorite plant in the garden? What was your favorite room in the house? How long did you live in the house? How many children did you have? What is the prettiest month at the house? What was your favorite season at the house? What was your favorite season at the house? What was your favorite crop from the garden? What was your favorite food to cook? What was your favorite food at Thanksgiving?
Jeff, you had that camera pointed at them the entire time, correct?
Right, yeah.
Because they actually had a major temperature drop and they're feeling cold, which
Okay.
I'm all about the science.
Okay.
So, I mean, that
Interesting.
pad behind them is colder, but that is mud back there. So it's going to
Okay.
be colder than this, dry gravel
Yep.
because mud holds water. I don't know if you noticed too, but whenever you have the sky in view, the blue dot automatically defaults
Right.
there.
Yeah. I have kind of noticed the horizon. I've been trying to keep it keep it
usually
down
point that
off
out,
there.
so my
Do you?
apologies.
Okay. No, it's fine. Yeah. I mean,
You
now
do
it
have a
likes
cold spot.
I think that's the car window.
Oh yeah, because the windshield's going to hold,
Windshield.
obviously. Yep, that happens
Yeah.
all the time.
So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Temperature go up at all on your end?
64. Yeah.
The cold spot is literally right on your front thigh.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
It's on your legs, yeah.
Doing something weird. I feel like I keep stepping into cold spots.
Courtney, take a few steps for me.
Like toward you?
Any direction. Move. See, it's the same spot. It's got to be the ground where she was standing.
Okay.
So I was measuring the ground, like in between, like your knees. lights.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. So,
Sarah, you got anything else going on? She can't hear me.
Sarah's locked in.
She is locked in.
She's locked in.
Yeah, it's not the easiest job in the world. So, but you also have both earbuds in, which is kind of cool. We could be asking questions out here, and you can be getting answers, and you don't know what all that kind of stuff. So, it's an interesting thing to know you can keep talking. The fact that you're using both of them, like, interesting.
Trying.
Yeah. Again, it's not an easy job.
It's true. Yeah.
Definitely not. It's dizzying.
Which crop grew the best in your garden? Which crop tasted the best from your garden?
Kids do that too.
Eliza.
right.
Who
Yep.
was your favorite president?
I'm the writer. I'm out there teaching science. So, we're going to give Sarah another minute with those. I just want to talk about, we're not getting much more work list. Obviously, we're going to unfortunately slow down. She's not very much spiritual here. Jeff has his relationships. So, I do want to get you guys the answers. We're going to give her another minute since she is like really in tune right now. That's up to her focus, especially if she's really trying to answer.
Eliza, what was your favorite thing about Christmas?
All right, Jeff, wait for her in. Let's come back here.
All right.
Come on, get here.
Go over here now. And then move on to the next place.
Except for October. October is just everybody's got to do something spooky.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
You know, so
yeah.
that's what it is. And what's the relationship between the two of you? What's your relationship? Yeah.
Oh, girlfriend, boyfriend.
Okay, gotcha. Again, I never assume anything, so I always ask. And I'm the tour guide. So anyway, so we did get one little thing. You guys can stop your videos, kind of get your hands
Okay.
free.
In heels.
Hey, your email said comfortable walking shoes.
Oh no, no. I was saying
Quite-
I wouldn't want to try to navigate
Uh,
this.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
should see
we're
my
just-
bridal parties. They're a trip. Like, half the time I have this, I can't take
Oh
them.
my god.
I own a wedding
yeah.
venue. And she's a makeup artist.
Yeah.
We get,
We
we
live in
know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we know.
We live in a very tourist town.
Yes.
All right, so welcome to Lodge Alley, another dark, creepy place. At least we're a little further into the city, but we might actually have some witnesses. So a lot of people get a little weirded out by the darkened alley, but it's usually a lot brighter down here. But Magnolia's restaurant, which is right behind me, just went through a fire a few months ago, so they're under renovation. That's a common thing, in case you guys didn't pick up on that. Fires are always happening here in Charleston. Yeah, definitely turn off that little white button in here. No, you're good. So, where are we? Lodge Alley. It's named that because this is where the Freemasons actually had their first Masonic lodge in Charleston. So, there's Lodge Alley Inn next to you, by the way. That's the yellow building you guys are leaned on. Obviously named after the alley, and every hotel down here has a claim of ghosts, but nobody will let me verify that for free. So, hopefully in the summer, my wife and I and my new co-host for the podcast will be doing investigations in all of the alleged haunted spots down here. Those will be new episodes, whether they're haunted or not. So, the reason why I asked for names, and you heard the name Howard, it's not relevant here. And
I also heard Dawn.
heard Dawn. We heard Dawn last night here. Interesting.
It was like as we were turning in.
Yeah, and I couldn't find a Dawn relative to here. But the reason why I asked for names is because these two giant buildings weren't always here. So this used to be the street. When we crossed that last crosswalk, that was where the original Charlestown walls used to be. So Charleston used to call Charlestown the walled city. This is one of the first streets that we ever had. So you're walking on granite cobblestone. So that also kind of ties into the whole stone tape theory. If you're not familiar with that, it basically states that anything that is made of solid earthly materials can hold on to memories. And it kind of replays over and over again like a movie. The names I constantly hear out of spirit boxes coming from the groups, and when I don't tell you the names, are Benjamin and John. They show up every 6 to 7 weeks. We're on like week 4 to 5 right now, so we're not expecting that, but you never know. But Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. I don't find it ironic that I hear the same two names over and over and over again when I've been doing this for over 2 years in the same location. So the stone tape theory is something new that I'm kind of diving into now that I know what exactly these bricks are made out of. It's called Belgian block, which is just solid granite. It's much easier on horses' hooves and that kind of thing. And when I say these people that were down here were like lesser, lower class people, it's because the smell of low tide would have been coming across the wall from across the street on East Bay. So the rich down on, obviously, the Battery are not going to put up with that. They did do an archaeological dig here. They found some of their tools and silverware and some of the pieces that they used to work with, like clay, a lot of clay, which kind of shows you like what these people were like. And it's a very interesting place. And again, I like to just linger here for a few minutes and kind of give you the history to see what else is going to pop up, because I never know. I have caught shadow figures here in the past. We do hear children laughing on the radio stations quite often when we're here. So again, take that for what it's worth. This is a very odd place. Also, relating to the Freemasons, terms like obviously Mason will show up. I've also had the term Illuminati show up several times here. Now, why the hell would we be mentioning Illuminati on a radio station or on your spirit box? Again, it's just not something, like, you have to take it with a grain of salt, that when you get it more than once, it's like, okay. By the way, that George Washington bit that I told you guys about wasn't something that I learned from the tourism office. It was actually something that popped up from the tours. I got George Washington as an EVP from a radio station twice in 1 week, and I'm like, there's got to be a relation. Why the hell are we talking about Washington on the radio? But again, once I looked it up, I found out he was a pallbearer. So very interesting space. What we're going to do from here, so we actually have another tour at the end. We're literally right on the cusp of where tour guides, me, is allowed to take you. Because to the left, once we reach out at the end of this, is a neighborhood. I can't take you through a neighborhood, so we're going to go across the street and to the right. Once we get to the edge of this, we're going to stop video recording. We're going to try not to videotape another tour because they're not hip to what we're doing. They're just listening to ghost stories. We're going to get into the more popular areas where you're going to see more like bigger groups. So again, prepare to be stared at, and people, like, I'll just steer us out of their way. So again, we're investigating. They tell a story, they move on. But we're gonna go look at Philadelphia Alley. So I can't take you down there because yes, I've been kicked out of there, as I started to tell Sarah. And then I'm gonna, depending on what comes up on Jess's word list, I'm gonna go based off of some of the myths and legends around that corner because there's a lot. A lot of them are true, a lot of them are not. However, you already have a name that's very relevant. And no, it's not a male. So we're going to go through that unless you already know the story. You don't know the story. So, last thing that we're going to be doing, I like to just kind of give you a quick itinerary. It's a way of me dragging this out to get more stuff out of the spirit boxes. Is we're going to be investigating a female pirate over at the Powder Magazine, just like what we did with the Pinckney Mansion site. That is a whopper of a story if you're into pirates. Do you have something going on over there?
I'm not.
Because with your camera, it should either be like that. Yes.
There was like right here in that for a second. It was like a pillar of like lightness, but I don't know if it was just something bouncing off of
Were you recording?
something. And my battery's tanking also, but I think I recorded.
You are
flashing.
recording.
Yep.
So before actually stop the video, let's change out your battery before we lose that footage. Because if you lose the battery in the middle of the footage, then we lose the footage. So, I'm going to swap her battery up real quick. That'll kind of give them a chance to move on.
Oh, wait, no, it's still working. It's just the lights off.
You keep breaking everything over there.
You don't read anything right there, right?
What's that?
In that spot right there. I'm thinking it was probably just something.
It's like an
bouncing off
alcove
of-
right over here.
Like
Like,
it literally,
it's-
like where you see
It's really dark.
the
but,
arch. Yeah, there was like a light thing, but I'm just I saw it in the corner of my eye and then turned,
Yeah.
but
No, I didn't see anything live on here, for sure.
probably just a light flashing off.
So you're just a problem child tonight.
I am.
Batteries and
I told you I will kill every battery you have.
have 5. I don't know. We'll find out. Plus, you're holding 3 because each of those lights has its own. The wonderful thing about this setup, the only problem is that these little batteries that go in here, like they only last about an hour and a half at best. We've been out a little over an hour, so you should have still had some life left in it.
Watches constantly have to put
My mom
batteries
kills
in them.
watches, too.
I kill
Like, within a
everything
week.
that I don't know what it is. It's just it's
Weird.
the craziest thing.
Yeah.
My car has so many issues. My car's brand new. It's literally a 2020. It is brand new and it does not work like it's supposed to when I'm driving it.
Oh.
And my husband will drive it and it's a car. It's just normal.
Wow.
And then I'll be like, "Can you stop not going? Can you do what you're supposed to do?"
So I wiped off your lens just in case I had fingerprints on there. But yeah, let's go put the camera in there. Let me first and foremost, let me make sure there's not a bum sleeping in there.
It has to be flashing to be recording.
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
Nobody right here at the edge.
Got Ashley.
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 Now you turned off the background light. I'm going to reset it for you anyway, so that way the temperature stays and stuff. You're a problem child. Both of you.
That's what my mom always told me. Just kidding. Actually, I was the good kid. My sister's the problem child. Still is.
I love the fact that she's all in. She's whipping out flashlights.
Nice.
Do people live here?
No.
Okay. Looks like that could be like a residential
I
entrance.
think it's basically just like a storage unit.
Yeah.
Now, as we get past that doorway up there, the archway on the left, it is residential in the front here. So that's why we're going to be quiet. We're not going to be filming, that kind of thing. Like, we're just going to be passing through. The fact that that tour guide is right there with a group for so long, I'm super shocked. Like, other tours don't have much to say down here. I don't really have much to say down here other than I have the full list of residents. I can prove who's been here. But the stone tape theory has been a small fascination of mine the past few weeks as I'm diving further into it. So,
Ashley? Does
Probably
Ashley
not.
matter?
Probably not.
Okay.
Just come here. Okay, look here. I'm sure that it's just the way that things are like shaped. You look and it's like that thing, especially on that stair. Look here. but then I don't want to be crazy, and like, so I'm asking someone before I come to you. Okay, I think.
Let me just take the camera.
So, okay, so you see what it looks like. There's nothing there, like by the stairs. So, it's not there. It's like there's literally, it looks like something standing there and there's like long dark hair. But it's not there now that you have it there. I mean, what is that?
I have no idea. That's why I'm filming it for so long.
Yeah, that's where it was, but when I saw it, it was longer than that, and then there was dark stuff like trailing.
Something just came across this shadow right here. Just a second ago. It came down, and something moved in that shadow. So definitely won't know until I blow it up.
I'm just curious as to what that is because you can't see it with the naked eye, and when you shine a flashlight, there's nothing there. But there on that screen, it is. It almost looks like something with a robe on. Like that.
I see it.
What is that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna video it and see if I can blow it up.
Night vision doesn't make it go away either. That's why we record everything.
Dude, I'm all up in your space. Sorry.
But I'm happily married. I know where I'm going home.
We're just all excited about
Yeah.
it.
I love it. Well, something else just moved in there. Watch, I'm gonna blow this up and it's gonna be mice or some shit.
I'm hearing a lot about like Medicaid, vaccination, colon cancer.
We had
Like,
vaccine here last night.
okay. Like over and over again, I'm getting something.
Interesting.
Hang on, it takes a minute.
You got movement in there for sure.
That situation right there, I guess.
I saw it, yeah.
So there's definitely some movement in there. All right.
But nothing else is reading it, right?
That's a great catch. I can't
No, I
wait.
didn't come up with
First time I'm actually excited to watch that video.
Yeah.
So
But
the
there's
first
no,
night was
like,
like, ooh, let's
nothing
watch it.
reading.
I didn't
And then-
see anything live on here. I recorded everything, that
And
as you
yours-
guys were
Well,
doing
I
your
just-
stuff. But
It'll keep going up to like, it went up to like 4 point something,
Okay,
That's
which
fine.
is odd in here because if we
Yeah.
get anything, it's usually just from the restaurant. But the restaurant's closed.
Yeah.
So we had a 4 point. I'm definitely
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
like a
watching your
4
video.
point.
And it was in here.
So what is that? In the floor. Is that a wrap? What is that? Oh.
We do have
Rats scare me.
Yeah, my flashlight won't work now.
You're up.
And this is a brand new phone. Okay, now there's a big lump on the floor that's not, or on the ground that's not there in person. Like, do you see this? It almost looks like a,
Yep, I see it.
right there, it almost looks like a cat or a big mouse or something. And there's nothing,
Kind of night vision.
there's nothing there.
It's still there though.
It is still there.
So it's not the light.
Ooh.
Good stuff. This one should be a zoom. All right, we're not supposed to be in here, so I'm going to
Okay.
this out.
okay,
I'll take it for the team. I don't mind.
okay. You'll say it was your idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to go
You-
visit.
you made us do it.
Damn it, Sarah, we told you. Can't behave.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Kind of thing. Same thing with yours. People just get a little weird about being filmed. They don't know what we're doing. I think we're making YouTube videos and shit, which we are, but not in the sense that they are. All right, so this is Philadelphia Alley. It's named that because we named it after one of the cities that helped us after one of our many, many fires. And also, dueling became illegal and stupid because this used to be called Dueler's Alley. So this is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all tell the story of one duel because we can actually prove it. That's the reason why we tell it. I get a shit ton of words coming out of the spirit boxes, even standing over here. I cannot take you down all the way. I can't even take you down halfway because the new neighbor down at the end, he's the guy that called the tourism office on me. You guys joined the annoying group with all your blinky lights and stuff. So he did not appreciate my team investigating right outside his dining room window. So I got a phone call and had to literally reroute this tour. The interesting thing is about the dates around when I had to reroute everything is definitely relevant to our last story. I'm going to have a lot to say on our last story because of the person that passed out and the dates that I had to reroute everything. So let's tell you the story of the doctor. He moves down here from Rhode Island. Keep that in mind what the initials of the state where he came from are, because that's important. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney handling that money for her told her to send the doctor away, that he was just after her cash. To prove that he's not, he comes to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs, same initials as where the doctor came from. RI shows up here quite often. I need the secondary clue so I know who it's attached to. So he says, you don't want to stay here, man. This guy's going to rob and kill you. Let me take you somewhere else. He takes him to 59 Church Street. He's got some friends that live there. The doctor can rent a room from these two ladies. So 59 will show up here quite often, so be on the lookout for that. But anyway, the two become friends, and the doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money. So the man is moving down soon, and the doctor becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city has a whistler, just so you guys know. Ours is a doctor. So it's cliche, but it works here because it's true. So what happens from there is that the doctor and Ralph go see plays together, but because the doctor makes more money, they can't sit next to each other. The doctor gets better seats. It's the hierarchy of Charleston, just the way we work. One night after seeing William III, Shakespearean play, they were talking about the new actress. Ralph did not like the new actress, and the doctor loved her. So they start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. Not a very good, friendly thing to do, so they obviously get ugly with each other and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad, he rebuttals with, we're going to go to Dueler's Alley and settle this, with another newspaper ad, no less. They come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot. Ralph has his one shot left, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die. He's picked up and carried home to 59 Church Street, now known as the Thomas Rose House. And he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. So, however, the doctor obviously didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted the bravery to show up, whereas Ralph had other plans. He just maybe missed or wanted to prove his point as well. They say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. If you guys go down there on your own, first off, it is the most picturesque place we have, day or night. So it is perfect lighting, no matter what time of day it is. Not to mention, if you turn on your voice recorders from your phones, not yours because it'll probably break, you can
already broke it.
You may catch some whistles from the doctor. It's not going to be, now keep in mind, everybody in town knows the damn story. If somebody's walking down Cumberland or Queen on the other side, they're going to throw a whistle down the alley, me included, every night, because we end right up there on the corner. My garage is right there. You can see my car from here. It's on the second story above the Scotchman. Not to tell you guys where to go steal my car from with the thermal imaging camera, but I still walk that way every night, and I still throw a whistle down the alley just for the shits and giggles that I want to throw off every other tour. So let them kind of figure out what's going on down there. It's going to be faint, so it's going to be in the background. It is usually really, really quiet back there as well, day or night, even though it's only 2.5 blocks away from East Bay Street. So that's East Bay was the one we came down, and you guys heard how busy it was even at night. So during the daytime, it's 10 times worse. But you can't hear most of that noise over here on Philadelphia Alley. So very, very interesting space. One of the reasons why we got kicked out, a little bit of history for you. At the end of the alley, the bricks actually get older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave kids. There is a handprint and fingerprints at the end of the alley. It's about 14, 18 bricks in. I can't remember the exact count. Just right of center. So, and it is outside that man's dining room. Most people want to put an EMF meter near it or put a spirit box to it. I treat it as a grave, the same way I told you about Eliza Pinckney not going to be at her gravesite in Philadelphia. That kid's not going to be there. What kind of memory is he going to have of that place? Do you really think he's going to hang around the one stupid effing brick that he had to flip over until it was dry? No, he's not. It's a sad moment, but it does show us how far we've come. It is a part of our history. You're in the South. Like, again, it's just the way it works over here. No matter what my diversity is in my groups either, I do talk about slavery quite a bit because, again, it's something we need to be cognizant of. So take it for what it's worth. So from here, do we have any other words on your list? I'm not surprised at the religious term. We have the word God. So we are getting close to St. Philip's Church. It is a common thing for us to get religious terms even on yours. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. If you want to stop your video for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a few things around that church, and then we're going to go dive into the purpose, trying to protect it. So if it were to get attacked by cannon 3 blocks away from the water, pirates per se, it's going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls. It's holding gunpowder. If it does go all the way through, there is sand in the roof from 1712 that will blow up in the air from the gunpowder. It's not going to go out through the thick walls, it's going to go up. The sand will go up along with it and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Another great idea that doesn't work. So we had another powder magazine closer to the battery. If you know our geography, it's much closer to the water. It did penetrate, sand up, building burned down. That's the way it went down. So this one's just never been attacked. However, it did serve in 7 different wars, including the Civil War was its last servant, just so you guys know. I tell you all of this stupid history stuff on this building because our story begins in the middle of its construction. I told you that this is a government building, which means it took 10 years to make this very small building. That doesn't sound like our government, does it? A little bit. So, 1703 to 1713 is the construction era. 1708, right in the middle of it, is where our story begins. Follow me, there's a lot of twists. So, Anne Cormac moves here from Ireland with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys with me so far? The 3 of them are getting away from his angry wife. Okay, I think everybody got that one.
Yeah.
So, 1708, by the way. Anne is about 8 or 9 years old at this time. So, when they get here, they land in Georgetown. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly after they get here. He starts sending the daughter down here, Anne, to come sell anything from the plantation. This building is a familiar. That's the whole reason why we're here. We've already dealt with stone theory and residuals. We've already dealt with intelligent ghosts over at the Pinckney Mansion site. This is what I call a familiar ghost. We're only here because this is from the same time era, and there's not many pieces left from that era. So, with that said, Anne was kind of a badass when she was back in Ireland. Rumor had it that she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Just kind of giving you, when she was a child, no less. Just telling
I was
you.
going to say she's only like 8 when she moved.
Yeah, this would have been
Okay.
even younger than 8, because they moved here when she was about 8 or 9 years old. So,
Jeez.
yeah, just want you to have that image in the back of your head through this whole story. So, we're going to fast forward. The building's done in 1713, so in 1715, pirates are coming through town. At this point, Anne is about 16, 17 years old. Knowing her mentality, she's pretty stoked. She's finally going to meet some pirates. She falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonney. Now, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. I'm not going to approve my daughters marrying a pirate either. So, they run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Her career started here. But when she gets there, she realizes that, James, this isn't Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. This is not the kick-ass, drunken, sailor that she wants. He's a privateer, which basically means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. So, a few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Calico Jack is a much cooler name, no less. And he's called that because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. Like, he's a very dapper, filthy young pirate. He also has his own ship, and he is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. She wants to be part of his crew. Girls can't be on a pirate crew. They curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. You dress like the men, hide your gender. You can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's how it goes. So she agrees because back home, Dad used to hide her as a boy to keep her away from his wife. So she's already okay with this cross-dressing thing. So, with that said, being a female in his quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. Put 2 and 2 together. We'll keep it PG-13. So, can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. It's not going to work. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the kid, come back, we'll figure it out later. So, she has a kid, comes back with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. Again, lots of holes in this story. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty mad. Well, you guys already know Anne's M.O. There's a new pirate crew that he just captured down below deck, and she's going to go flirting, because that's what she does. This is guy number 3, in case you all lost track. The guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female, just like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. This young lady's name is Mary Read, like you read a book. So she convinces Mary to become part of the crew, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet to come and take down this one pirate ship. Just want to make sure nothing's wrong with my dogs. So,
Okay.
I wasn't lying when I said epileptic guy. I have epilepsy, have ESAs at home, so wife always lets me know what's going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, my kids are practically grown, so I have to take care of dogs now. So, where was I? So the British fleet come in. Anne and Mary are the only two that are not drunk enough to stay above deck to fight off with their one-bullet muskets. Obviously, this ship is going to go down. So the British come in, they're arresting everybody. Anne's last words were to Jack as they're being arrested, where you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So the name word dog will show up on your spirit boxes from time to time. The judge, his name is Nicholas as well, so if you hear my name, it's not me. Nicholas Laws wants to see the two men that fought back by themselves. He tries and hangs Calico Jack and all of his men, so they're dead and gone. A few days later, November 28th, 1720, Anne and Mary go in front of the judge and reveal their gender. The judge doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said trying to save themselves, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money, bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries, guy number 4. Yes, we're counting Mary Reed. And has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending.
Wow.
I know. Mary Reed died in a Jamaican jail a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it was scurvious and bumpy and gross and whatever other thing you can come up with. I do it every night because I have to tell the story every night. So, told you a couple of things. Questions as far as what you can ask. I only left 2 things out that I can prove for certain. The rest, this is kind of a level 3 because there's a lot of holes in the story. If you could fill in the blanks with whatever we find, awesome. I have filled in some of the blanks. I don't know how much of it's true, how much of it is, just never know. But the 2 things for certain are the name of Calico Jack's ship, you can ask about that, and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I left those out purposely so that way you guys would have something to at least get started with. The day I got kicked out of Philadelphia Alley was November 26th, 2020. November 27th, 2020 is Thanksgiving. I don't work. I reroute the tour up here, November 28th, 2020. We get the number 300. I didn't even believe this story about Anne Bonny and all of her hauntings all over town. So I'm telling what I know, right? I didn't tell the whole gambit you guys just heard. Next thing I know, we hear the number 300, and we have Anne's name on another spirit box. What is 300? It's the exact 300-year anniversary of their trial, November 28th, which is up and coming. So we'll have 301 coming up this year. So take that for what it's worth. I told you somebody passed out on my tour a few weeks ago. Good job reminding me. I appreciate that. So,
That was at the very end, so.
The chronological order of the way I'm going to tell this is important. So I bring my team kind of over into that center area. I have 6 or 7 that night, I can't remember. Gentleman on my tour goes white as a ghost, no color whatsoever. Starts to drop. Me and his partner pick him up, carry him over
That's
to that
weird.
wall over there.
Is it weird? It's the first thing I've had. It's like 2 words. Ask them.
Depends on what's on your mind.
And is it freezing here to everybody else? That's why I asked you
No.
what the temperature.
We'll bet.
I am freezing.
We'll
I feel
bet.
like
It's actually
somebody-
warmer up here.
I feel like somebody just dumped ice water on me. I'm freezing. Like I'm literally shaking.
Well, that's what we got thermal
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, is there anything going on? I mean, my body temperature
You have
kind of
temperature
stays a
on
little
your-
whacked out anyway, but
I heard the word November and I ignored it because it's like this is November.
Right.
But I heard November when we were across the street.
So it's about 62 here. It was 65.
it's cold. Like right here is cold. It almost feels like there's like wind blowing. Can you feel it?
But also, like, we were walking around a lot, but we've been, like, still for a
Staying-
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
standing.
I mean, my
Plus you
hands
sat
are
down.
freezing.
Yeah, I'm freezing. Yeah.
We were probably sitting on the stone over there was also probably holding on to the cold
Yeah.
from any kind of breeze that came by. So I'm not going to discount it, just one proof. So, but anyway, standing over there with my group, before I tell the story, this guy starts to go down. I send the boyfriend, like once we get him sitting down over there, I send the boyfriend over here to get a bottle of water for him. He brings it back. I tell the story after he starts to feel a little bit better. Again, when I say white as a ghost, I haven't seen anybody go that white. I don't know, ever. That's how white he was. So I tell the story, send everybody out with their gadgets, get going. They stop me and say, Nick, can we tell you something? Yeah, sure. Like, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males on my tour. Anne Bonny and Mary Reed were 2 females dressed like males. They completely understood the entire story and why it was relevant.
Wow.
and why that particular person passed out. And it was, again, almost immediately. And it wasn't a warm night, and this person wasn't like overdressed or anything like that, but it was definitely, again, I told you guys I don't ask questions about your dynamics. So did I have questions? I did. I'm not going to poke the bear. You know, it's not my place. But again, the fact that they brought it up and the fact that they were cool with the fact they thought it was rad, that it was, and this was like a very young couple. They're like, this is pretty badass, and I almost passed out, you know, kind of mentality. But it was definitely like, holy shit. Like, I would never forget that night. And that was just a few months ago. So again, take that for what it's worth. We're definitely going to get some film footage in here. Camera folks, if you guys want to go to the front and put your cameras in the gate of the front lawn of the powder magazine, you can. I'm going to prefer that we mainly stay near that wall so you guys can get a gist of what those earthquake bolts look like. We're close to the powder magazine, the familiar building itself. But we're definitely going to check to see what's going on with your spirit boxes. Your melt meter, if it gives us anything in here, this is not the Pinckney Mansion site. It's not going to be fluctuating. It's normally dead locked at 0. If you get anything out of it at all, that usually means something else is happening on another device. I will tell you so far just kind of where I'm at mentally. I'm stoked about whatever we were finding inside that little alcove of Lodge Alley. Like, I'm really excited about that. I'll be really excited at what I catch on your spirit box, just in that particular time frame. The cold spot that you two felt back at, like, we don't get a whole lot of people that say that. Like, I'll be honest. I'll get, oh, I felt like I was touched. I'm like, I can't prove that. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I think I was scratched. No, you weren't. Zach Bagans is nowhere near us, I promise you. But again, it's the scientific proof that I'm actually after. We have some terms on your end where I'm kind of like, okay, those are some really good, loosely relevant pieces. Hopefully I capture something that's going to go along with it. If not, you guys will, but I'll still notate it. But let's see what we can capture here. Do you guys want to see what Anne looked like before we actually start asking questions? Would that help? I will tell you that Anne was so badass, and she was always dressed like a guy. Whoever she killed, she would normally bare a breast to show that they were killed by a man.
Nice.
You know how hard it is to find a picture of this woman with a shirt on? I have teenage boys.
Good for her.
So I don't need mom like scouring at me as I'm going through the tour.
It's funny.
You think it's funny. But it's this guy that's got to deal with the angry mom that I already told her that somebody might get sick, and then I'm showing basically breast to her teenage boy.
Yeah.
Oh, Calico Jack. You can see, very dapper, proud young man. Let's see. Oh, by the way, that was what Philadelphia Alley used to look like. They used to call it Coons Alley.
I like it.
That was Big John. This is Anne.
Nice. Has there been movies made about her or anything?
Anne Bonny's legend. Like, she's all over television. She's in a video game that I'm playing right now. There's a reason why I'm playing it. I have read, I want to say, 5 to 6 books on just her.
Wow.
Because it's that, like, once I had the evidence, I'm like, shit. I'm not even into pirates. I'm a vampire guy. Like, so, like, the fact that this occurred, like, now I gotta read up. Like, I am almost like a super expert
Yeah, I
on
gotta
freaking
get those
pirates.
books. That's
But damn, I found a video game that has her listed in it, and it tells her story with Mary Reed. I'm like, now I gotta play
What
this
is the
damn-
video game?
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Okay.
So you play a pirate, and Steve Bonnet's in there, the one I told you about where William Rick caught him. So he's the main character in the beginning.
My kids are homeschooled, so I'm just curious if I could tie all this in together.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, she is on. If you want to actually really get into like some of, because a lot of the pirates that came through Charleston or were from here are on a Netflix documentary called The Lost Kingdom of Pirates.
Oh.
It
Okay.
was, and it wasn't like a normal documentary where you're like, oh my god, this narrator sucks. It was like watching a movie. Like, it was, and it was a 6-part series. My wife said, how much more of this are you going to watch? I'm like, I'm finishing it now. I'm already on
Right.
episode 4. It was only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But again, it was like, it wasn't exactly accurate because there's nothing exactly accurate. None of these stories match up. So you have to kind of take, like what I told you guys tonight is what I found the common links between those 5 or 6 books. I don't remember how many I have on this one. But again, there's a lot that goes into this whole pirate game thing, and I can see why people get so obsessive over it, because it is like a treasure hunt, basically. You want to try to find as many answers as you can. And when I went to St. Augustine in September, I wanted to go to the Pirate Museum because there's actually one of Calico Jack's original flags there. He is kind of dubbed with the design for like the skull and cross swords. Like you normally think of a skull and crossbones, but it's actually cross swords, and that was for the Jolly Roger. That was his design.
Oh, cool.
So again, you don't hear Calico Jack's name. You know what I mean? You just think skull and crossbones, pirates. You know what I
Right.
mean, kind of thing.
Right.
But let's turn up your spirit box. I'm sure have you heard anything?
I haven't.
Okay, I know you've been focused on me, so
I'm trying to both, but
I know,
yeah.
it's tough. Imagine if you had the other one too, so you could see where like that word one would capture
Yeah.
attention because it's easier.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely want to get closer to the wall and take a look at your word list and see what you got going on.
Okay, here we go.
Well, when we were in that little alcove, that's when I heard colon cancer.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It was very clear. Yeah.
Again, we're talking. I don't know when we discovered what cancer was. But
Yeah.
We're talking like 18. I think it was 1790 is when residents started moving in there,
Hmm.
and it stopped about 1865.
Okay.
So again, it wasn't a long time span
Yeah.
before they started putting it into businesses. You got some weird terms on here. So this list, I want to say is just some of them. I'm like, oh, it joined. You're talking about the two ladies. But at the same time, it's like we don't have any like, oh my god, check this out. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of like, all right, here's rice. I'm gonna give you a clue. Have some breadcrumbs. So,
That's how it should be.
well, I like the definitives.
Oh.
Like when they come through.
Yeah.
Like if we would have had Susan Lee pop up while we were there, and we already had Howard. Hey, Walker. Sue Howard Walker.
Okay.
That's what is on the primary website for them. So just interesting the things that pop up, how I can link them up.
Yeah, for
Every
sure.
single night.
Definitely like a pattern that you have to
I
follow.
see it. And I all these links, like to
Yeah.
every story to give you guys, I have them all saved at the top. So if it deals with Sue, she has her own folder. If it deals with the Powder magazine, everything's with Ann and Jack and Blackbeard. All that shit. It's all so that way I know, like, all right, this one links to this.
Yeah.
And that's why it only takes me 2 hours to go through it,
Nice.
because I know exactly how to like drop everything in and give you the explanation. Not to mention I type 90 words a minute, so that helps too.
Yeah.
How long
So-
have you been doing this?
The tours of just about 2 years now, a little bit over. But I've been doing investigations for about 10.
Nice.
So that's what the podcast is. That tells you the whole story.
I want to get the name of your podcast
It's the
before
same.
we leave.
It's at the top of your data page.
Oh, perfect.
Everybody asks. That and where do I get my tools, which is also at the top of the page. There's a link. Everybody asks me. So I just made a little shop up there, so that way you can just shop for whatever you want. And I should show you where I get everything, what apps to use, what's working, what doesn't. All the resources that I use for the tour, like they're all listed there. And all the, of course, the merch. The podcast I have.
Sure.
So
Every good podcast does.
I just hired a co-host, and we just recorded our second episode together.
Okay.
She's getting better. She's super knowledgeable, and she doubts herself. She actually works for a team from
What
TAPS,
is your
South
favorite
Carolina.
island
So
that
she
you
actually works for the
visited?
South Carolina division of that. So she took a tour to learn a few things, different tactics, and became a friend. A year later, when I decided to get back on the podcast, we took her on to finish it.
It's not up to just like 1.2.
What is
Again, it's not the Piggy Mansion site. The
the
fact that you're
name
getting
of one
anything
of the boats?
is exciting. In that corner, it's gonna skyrocket
That
because of the
you-
electrical pole right there, so don't even bother. You're too far away from right now for it to be coming from that. But again, you're getting little tiny spikes, which is still exciting. Again, you're not gonna see the 150s here for sure. You can pull up that print.
What is the name of one of the ships that you pillaged? What's the name of your boat? What was the name of? What was your favorite island? What's your favorite place that you sailed to?
You guys are gonna be pros with that. Just gotta spend a couple grand to get the gear. Shit ton of batteries, so Courtney doesn't drain them.
You gotta have a battery hookup.
I know, right? wirelessly through the air.
That's right.
Just put your hand in.
That's right. Everybody stacked their iPhones on me. It could be like a weapon of war.
Really spiky from here.
Oh, what do you got?
To like 3.
Okay, that's noteworthy for sure. I don't want to come near in case whoever's here doesn't want me near me.
Favorite place you visited?
It is funny. This battery, like 2 seconds ago, was fully charged, and you can watch it like
Waiting in.
draining.
What's funny is everything else seems like.
Yeah, it just went
What is
back
the
and
favorite?
just went down
What
the
is your
line.
favorite place where you traveled?
Literally just draining.
I mean, it goes a little quicker when it's recording. But
Did you have a favorite island? What was the name of your
I've
favorite
never had to
island?
pull out a third battery on the tour. And other locations when I'm there for 4 hours, yeah. No, you're good. This is our last stop anyway. This is our last stop. I just want to see what she gets in her.
Favorite
Give us
island?
something. It's weird. I did say the word resident when I was talking about the side of the cemetery, the eastern side.
How many husbands did you have? Who was your favorite husband?
I almost want to throw other things at you to see how quickly they die. Temperature again. I got a bag full of them. Like the lasers that I use, I have my filters 10, like those go pretty quickly. Even the lasers take a long battery. That's usually the only thing I have to change batteries out for. Maybe once a week.
We have an electric blower. We have a farm, so we have a big blower.
How many
an electric blower. And my
people
husband can use it.
were
and it'll
on
run.
your ship?
He's timed it, and when he uses it, he can get it at full. It's just electric. It's a steel, but it drains really quickly, just in general. But he can use it, and
What
he
is
can
the
get
name
18
of your
minutes
favorite
out of it.
country?
I can use it and get
What
6.
is the name of your
I kid
favorite
you not.
island?
And he's just like, let me do it. Because I'll be like, we need to blow off whatever. Hand me that. And he'll be like, I got it. Like, you're going to have to come back and charge your battery. Well,
I almost want to put a K2 meter just on you.
I have a lot of weird stuff going on. I have Lyme disease. I do bee venom therapy. There's a lot going on in my body. Bee venom therapy, you actually use live bees and sting your spine to get into your neural pathways. So there's a lot of weird stuff in my body. Anyway,
I'm only getting spikes when I'm in like this area. When I go outside of this, like, I mean, like this whole area. If I like go over here,
Yeah, because the electrical pieces for that over there
Yeah.
are going to be obviously underneath where the leaves and whatnot are. So you shouldn't be hitting anything over here at all. Anything crazy on your end, Jeff?
Nothing.
You haven't
Nothing.
screamed or thrown the phone.
No, nothing crazy. Like you said, this is, if you pick up something live on here, you just happen to glance at it exactly the right time.
If you went up to around 8, it's probably from the parking meters. There's parking meters on the other side of that bush.
yeah, no, it just jumped up to like 4 and then right back down again.
That's probably from the parking meters. Sarah, you got anything? Nothing?
Not that I can really tell.
It's a lot easier when you have much higher quality earbuds in, like I'll have tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So I think we should call it, just because I'm not seeing anything coming up out of first earbuds either. And again, I'll be super curious to see what comes up out of the recording. The earbud thing is working much better than just having an open air static box. I'm sure you can relate to that, but not to mention you said it would probably
It would drive
irritate the
me crazy.
shit out of you
Yeah,
all
it
night
would
long.
drive
Yeah.